Hello, everybody. I just wanted to do a very quick video on the movie Suburbicon, and specifically the scenes featuring the black family, and how they're sort of beset upon by this racially pure Levitt town that they live in. And so I noticed, I read a lot of reviews before going into the film, and I made a mistake because the movie's not doing very well with critics, and I noticed that they're like, the complaint that's repeated most often is that they feel like there are two competing plots and that they never really resolve together. And I disagree. I think that the scenes featuring the black family underscore and contrast the actions of like Matt Damon, Julianne Moore, and Oscar Isaac, those people. I think the whole, and the whole story behind Suburbicon is that the Coens kind of had that script sitting around for 30 years or whatever, like since the days of Blood Simple. And, Clooney's friends with them. I guess he dusted it off and went, hey, what about this? Like, this is a good story. Like, why don't we put this together? And they're like, whatever, have at it. So he and I think I can't think of his name. Like, I think his name is Grant Heslov, was the man who wrote sorry, I should look it up. They took a stab at polishing it for audiences 30 years later, and for sort of adding this racial element to it, which I think works, and I'll explain why. So the movie is set in this sort of Levitt town kind of place, like this sort of fictional version of the 50s, like this Eisenhower type era place that never really existed. It's the way it was depicted in newsreels, if you know what I mean. And it's like their idyllic existence is totally disrupted when a black family moves in, like the very first black family to disturb their racially pure existence in Levittown. And you can see here in the scene that I've had up this whole time, you can see the way it's kind of the way the neighborhood looks in old Spielberg movies and in Capra films, and it's totally perfect and serene until the usurpers arrive. And you can see here in this scene, the mailman is slowly backing away from the black mother, like, please don't hurt me. He's treating her like an alien. And everyone in the movie sort of treats the black family like aliens, like they're from outer space. Like they just kind of slowly approach them like, we mean you no harm. And I love how the black kid is always just kind of throwing a baseball to himself, or he's building a fort out of cardboard, and he's just like, what? I'm just a kid. And the only one who makes any real effort at, diplomacy is Matt Damon's son. And he goes to his neighbor across the fence in his backyard and says, hi, I'm from the neighborhood. Who are you? And, of course, the white supremacists in the area don't approve. And those white supremacists are represented by iDubbbz here. And, iDubbbz, he witnesses the race mixing going on, and he informs Paul. And Paul, of course, is represented here. And you'll have to imagine the Kekistan flags and whatnot. And Paul is not having any of this racial integration nonsense. And so Paul gets the Donald subreddit involved now. And so they all show up outside the black family's house. And they're doing their whole Johnny Rebel shtick with their whole, we don't want no Dindus in our town kind of crap. And the whole point is that the black family inside the house is just watching TV, doing their thing. They're just trying to go to the grocery store, live their lives peacefully. And they're being disrupted by these mutant, degenerate assholes that are all, murdering each other, fucking each other's wives, stabbing each other in the back for fraud purposes. It's all like this. You can't get worse than the white people in this film. And I'm no liberal guilt, person, but the way that this film works, that's how, the black family fits into it to underscore the wickedness of Matt Damon's actions. How he keeps telling his son that the black family is awful, that they're evil, they're wicked, they'll corrupt him, stay away from them. And it's like, how could they be worse than you? Like, you have butchered everyone in your life. I'm sorry, that's not to spoil anything. That's not really what happens. I'm saying that, like, he's a monster. Like, he's an absolute monster. And he's looking at his kid like those people are worse next door. After everything that's gone on. That's the point of the black family. So, for those critics acting like they're a totally disjointed plot or some sort of B plot, they're not. It's like you cut back to them to remind you that the black people have done nothing wrong. Like, they haven't done anything yet. And the white people are the ones that have been, like I said, like butchering each other and acting like crazy evil shits. Anyway, that's it. Thanks. I want to keep this short. So that's all. And like, there's a very brief scene to show you how easily distracted the mob is. And I really appreciate that. That's a key scene with the black family, is that the mob that was persecuting them is so easily distracted. They're distracted by the wind. And so as soon as they hear a fire truck, they're just like, oh, suddenly their racial purification purposes don't seem so important. And they just dash off. And the black guy just sort of takes one of their Confederate flags down and lets it drop. That might be my favorite scene, I don't know. But I recommend seeing the film. I hope I haven't spoiled too much. See it anyway, just for the aesthetic, the look, the sound of it is so perfect. It's very old Coen's. It reminds me of something like Miller's Crossing. If you're into that sort of period piece where they get it perfect, like you're in the room in the 50s, then please see this movie. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.